Welcome everyone, this is Evelyn, and I have my 4-deck read for you guys today. Actually, yeah, I do have my 4-deck read, but I have my 3-deck read I usually do with Metatron, Nature's Whispers, and Shaman Dreams is a 4-deck read today, because I also used the Journey of Love first, and then added the other 3 to the read I was doing for myself last night, but it ended up being a whole big read for you guys. It's a big one. So if you want to write anything down, I would grab a pen and a notebook because a lot of really cool and important information came through in this read. I did pull a few extra Wild Unknown cards after this read, and then I have the 7-deck read on the table, as you can see. But just one at a time as I go. This is the first read. Okay, so the first deck at the top is Journey of Love. Then we have Metatron, Nature's Whispers, and Shaman Dreams at the bottom. For those of you who don't usually watch, the left is the underlying energies. And for this read, I just did 3 cards coming out for each deck, and then I counted the pile that came out after that for each deck. Okay, so I'm going to bring it up a little bit closer so you can see the cards better. For Journey of Love, Metatron, Nature's Whispers, and at the bottom is Shaman Dreams. All right, so get ready for this one. And take a few deep breaths if you haven't already, if you so choose to. All right, and today is the 16th. Today is the 16th of October 2022. And the day adds up to 32 today, which is the journey, the 6 of Wands. And the 16 of the Tower, so sudden events as well. This was done, and it's 4:16 on the clock now as well. The 4 is the Emperor, 16 is the Tower. And I did this read at 4:30 to 38 last night, or yesterday afternoon. 4:30 is the Emperor and the 4 of Wands, the Union, and then all through the 38, so all through the Cups, the King of Cups and Queen of Cups, as well as the end of the Wands. So the 4 piles that came up from the 4 different decks, the first one was 4, the second was 7, the third was 9, and the third was 10, and the fourth deck was 9. So 4, 7, 10, 9 as far as the piles that I had to count. 4 to 7, of course, I always talk about the sweet spot. And the 4th chakra to the 7th chakra, the heart to the crown. Justice of the Hermit, Libra and Virgo again, because that's the middle of the zodiac. Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Virgo came up there. And then the Emperor traveling, destined to Hermit or to go to the Hermit. From 4 to 9, the Emperor to the Hermit, through the 7-10, which is 0 or source energy backing up 71, which for me is co-creation, the 3 of Pentacles card, supported by source. So 47109, when I looked it up in the gematria, of course, there's no result because it's too big. But I looked up 4719. And I also looked up 7109. And it was interesting under 7109 because the wake up years came up, 2016 to 2023 came up under that number. Let me see if I put it on here. I might have put it on my other. Let's see here. I have it right here. Okay, let's see what we got here. Yeah. So for 4719, the first entry was take cannabis and you'll see the corruption. That's why it's illegal. The second entry was the courage to take a stand for virtue and decency. Be brave, God is watching. The third is the black nobility expose themselves as high-level Illuminati through their coat of arms. And it said coat of arms as opposed to coat of arms. And the next entry was, what don't you psychos understand about get lost out of my life And the next one said, I know all their dirty little secrets, so these evil men want me dead, which kind of explains why they said the one right before that. And then the United States Customs Border Station, Portal, North Dakota, and North Portal, Saskatchewan, Canada, were coming up. That was the 4719. And then 7109, the first entry came up. The Golden Girls were not women. Hollywood, CIA, trans deception, the satanic law of inversion. That was really weird, coming up as the first one. And the next one was the time will start 2016 to 2023, which I told you already. Then I saw the mountains of the darkness of winter, and the place whence all the waters of the deep flow. The fourth entry was, and God looked and looked, like it was the cost of the bride and groom, and our family members of the Church of Christ on the internet, and the other one is not applicable any more than the other place. And then the next entry was, normal people have a natural animal revulsion for perversion, extreme promiscuity, lewdness, and pedophilia. That actually came up twice in a row. So, getting back to the cards, was the underlying energy of 33 of God Speaks, which actually came up through, I think, all 4 decks. But it definitely came up in the underlying energies in 2 of the decks. 33 is the 7 of Wands, standing up for oneself without getting triggered. It's also the energy of the Christ vibration. And in this deck, the Journey of Love, it's God Speaks. Then the 25 of Passion, 16 of Inner Truths, and 33 again with Joyful Muse. God speaks in passion, inner truth, and joyful muse, or creative expression, directly to the inspired heart, to the bass beat brought forward to clear the mind. And that's very much like an Om grounding type of energy. Maybe I'll hit my Om for you real quick. That's an Om. So at 508, which is Greased Lightning, by the way, 5 and 8 together, power and freedom, the catapult, so to speak, is the 5 of the Hierophant, the 8 of the Strength card, and the underlying energy of the 68, which is the Page of Pentacles, which I actually saw the 68 on the license plate when I was out at a kid's party yesterday, which is the Page of Pentacles. Drop into your heart, the 59 of the Temple Within, where man and wife reside at the foot of Lady Liberty, was coming up here. When you, the Page of Pentacles, manifest the end of the war within, just a girl in front of a boy asking him to love her at the base of Lady Liberty, under the Atlantis altar, God's altar, they will come. What God has brought together, let no man put asunder, as you support her efforts to light the altar. And you notice that tar is in altar, so that's significant for something that comes up. And then again, Avatar, which is Avatar, and that always brings up my great niece who's still in the hospital from her liver issues. Her grace was coming up, as well as the sweet soul rising, 68, 59, and 33. The student war within, with the teacher standing up. Jesus and Christ, right? The human, it's like the student and the teacher, the Christed and the Jesus, the human side of him. And then the number 160 came up, which is 0 backing up the 16 of sudden change, the tower event. And the entries that came up with 160, the first one was soul, S-O-L, as well as iota, capital R, lowercase r, capital T, lowercase p, both Chinese, Iraq, Michael Obama, PT, and God is, just God is. And then Men in Black came up as the 11th entry. Support of the towers was coming up here. And then the SOL, which comes up as a French coin, which, remember, coin is another spelling of Kohan, or the co-pilots. It's also the note G, which is also the key G. The gold coin, the solid, the whole, the sun or sunlight, Mars Day, which is 24 hours, 39 minutes, and 35 seconds. Sunlight is also coming up as very white. And with the 24, 39, 35 coming up, the Queen of Wands, the Knight of Cups, and the Wounded Warrior were coming up together. A star, a solution to an objection. As the example, they use controversial divinity. Under the left, the shoulder, salt, alone, unique, ground floor, to be used to, the soil of the earth and the sole of the shoe, the mud or wet sand, the soil, the dirty and dark, the messenger, the envoy. God speaks to the 7 of the chariot, the shifting universe, and the 17, there's that 717 again, with her grace, so sweet, soul rising. The number 20 of that wake-up call. The sweet soul rising is to her the level of her grace. 71720 came up, which was very interesting right there, as the way the cards came out. 71720. All right, so 71720. So 71720 doesn't come out in Gematria because the number's too long. And the number would be too high. It doesn't match anything. So I broke it down to 717 and 720. Both are significant numbers to me. And I think that 717 is probably significant to you as well. So I looked up 717, and the first entry there was Re, the hidden hand. And the other numbers associated were 888 and 148. And 48 is that walking away and within. And then the second entry, very significant here, which I always talk about, is 3, not only 888, but the second entry is 3 written out, X, 8s. And I always show you the X as the 8th dance. The number 3 spelled out, the letter X, and then 8s spelled out. So not only was the ray of the hidden hand number 888 in the listing, but the second entry was 3x8s, which is the 888 / 48 again. And then INRI, December, but DEC, abbreviated, zodiac, and that came up as 720, which is the other number I was going to enter. So 717 and 720 both came up in the 717 entry. And that was the third entry, was 720 and 120 as well. Something to do with INRI and the December zodiac. I didn't actually look up INRI, which I could do that right now. Let's see what we have here. So INRI comes up. It's only used in para, ma, and ri, only. And it means to make matters worse. Okay? So to make matters worse, in the DEC zodiac, which the other number was 720 and 120, the next entry was Ray's sign. The last president was the next. And then HIV and Gavi, Gavi, and Yeshua, not Yeshua, but Yeshua, Yeheshua, the triumph of God, the full armor of God, granted second chance message, triple helix of DNA, 6 months, a call for uprising, vice, and that a call for uprising was the same numbers as the full armor of God, and then a rapture of mankind, Babylon is falling, copyright, scriptures, which was another 888, alien cloaking, the electromagnetic field, that was part of alien cloaking, and then 3x8s came up again. That was the 21st entry. Then ontology, I went on further because there's something else significant here. Ontology, manufacturing, gematria is true, and the 29th entry was the Queen of Diamonds. The 30th entry was one complete unit, and 31 was Sirius and Pleiades. 32 was torso corpinacta, which I didn't know what it was. I didn't find a definition on it, so I broke it down to seashore, beach, holiday, collection of documents, certificate, election results were coming up in that as well. the body or chest of the corporation in the election results. So elections are coming up, so that may be significant about an election. So however that comes up for you, it's spelled torso, and then corp, C-O-R-P, I-N-A-C-T-A. And if you know what that means, you can let me know. So 720, before I looked up in gematria, first came up as 2 complete turns, right? 360 degrees times 2 at 554 to 555. The 5 of the Hierophant, the 54 of the Page of Swords, which has been coming up as Mercury. Well, that gets explained today in alchemy, and so stay tuned. So 720 came up as ray of a light beam. Then number 5, read calculado codes. Bye, have fun. Read calculado codes. Age of Aquarius. Q74U came up, was interesting because 4 was the number, not the word. Q7, and of course Q is the sperm and the egg, the 0 and the 1, the man and the woman, all that energy, the quantum leap, the Q and the 7, and then 7-4, where I always talk about the 4 to 7 sweet spot, and then U, which it was spelled out, Y-O-U, which is the Y of the 0 point field, the 0 of human embodiment of source energy, and then the U of the Holy Grail. Then the name Luz came up, L-U-Z, which is funny because my neighbor's name is Luz. Lord God Key, the all-seeing eye, Tennessee Titans, and the greatest gift of all. Time to Fly was number 24 entry. And then New came up, like New, but with another new on it, which is the only thing I could find on that was a kid's clothing store. And maybe meanings of nose or dog, things like that. But New has to do with, grandmother, ancestor kind of energy. And then Pigeon came up in Hawaiian. God speaks through signs and symbols, music and shifts, the chariot or vehicle of her grace, in a wake-up call to the sweet souls rising. There were 4 cards here of the Emperor with control, 61 of her egg, the ovary and the pearl, the 29 of the present, and the 62 of the choice, which is the prison or the release. And 61 to 62 is coming up, which is very interesting because that's my years this year and next year, which was coming up as a timing thing. Because my age and my twins' age were both coming up right here as 56, 61, 62, and then 56 was coming up as the next card. Her egg, ovary, pearl, and a present in the choice, being a prison or release is always up to you, a gift released with the 2 of Swords dance of the planets of knowing without knowing. And then the card that I always get is Paul and Linda McCartney came up, them walking in a record, which is really them walking in the vortex, the chaos of the storm around the vortex, and not being affected by it. Paul and Linda in the record, the chaos of the cyclone, hand in hand, through the ovary, the note, and the vortex. She loves in the dance of the planets. She turns back time, and then Cher's coming up. That's funny. Somebody else talked about Cher today, too. She turns back time to 56. And then that was at 620, which is the 6 of the lovers and the 20 of the wake-up call. And also 62, which just came up in one of the cards I just read to you, which is the prison of the 8 of Swords, or the release. And then at 622, which is the lovers and the fool's journey, the underlying energy was the 30 of the silver warriors of light, the sword and the stone, the word and the tone, regarding music, which, by the way, 30 plus 29, which is the union, and the being present in the moment to the gifts, equals 59, which is the inner war, but also peace when it's reversed. So war and peace was coming up. The 2 of the high priestess divine feminine and the peaceful time out in the purple moon, needing to review and reflect, and the 25 of the Knight of Wands with a love for life. Lady of the Lake brings forth the truth to feel into before acting upon from the heart. The King of Wands in duality with balance needed, so the divine feminine collects sunshine to transmute and light the dark, causing dragon or drag on, breathe in, to breathe in the ether to the pyramid, which is the pyramid, the fire in the belly, creating a fire in their belly to find the truth. inspiring them to find the truth, or you. Excuse me. The chaos of the sun, or the sun, in the union with control. Again, the reference of chaos being the polarity to control of life and death. The divine feminine in meditation with the purple moon. He, the yellow solar plexus, which is also the quantum entanglement. She, the purple moon of the third eye. The 25 is the Knight of Wands, starting a fire under her heart in the solar plexus, shining his solar light of quantum entanglement. She dampens the crown with her violet flame. So he lights the fire under her heart to spark her up, and she dampens the crown, the ego crown, with her violet flame to bring down the ego a bit and lighten up to violet and white, which are the next colors after indigo. At 632 is the Lovers in the Journey. The 21 of the indigo card, which is whole and complete. It's also Pisces energy for me. The child star, or the fiery Pisces, with direct connect to their star, with the emerald green heart healing. The 39 of the Knight of Cups and Mother's Grace, with sweet soul rising, and very much that mother and child energy coming up there, with the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Cups, or two knights here, whole and complete. The 47 of the sweet spot and the heart to the crown, but it's also the number for me of synchronicities and choices, and sometimes confusion if you allow it to confuse you. The abundant sweet spot, the heart to the crown, with blessings and thanks in Knights of the Round Table, 7, and 7 cards came up there. 7, of course, is the Chariot, the feminine within the masculine, ascending, and it is the vehicle of war, the Chariot. And here we have the Knights of the Round Table, and 7, which is a very significant number as opposed to what normally would come up as 12 or 13, right? So he inspires her heart to see through the third eye, coming out the mouth between. Again, the energy of green and indigo. And that blue-green combination. So remember that blue-green combination as well. And the I was also getting the message of the eggs opening again. So it's like the eggs going dormant and then becoming active again, which may reference, a spontaneous conception. So at 6:43 with the Lovers and the Three of Cups, 7 cards came out. The Chariot, which is also can be the gamma ray, the divine feminine within the masculine, clearing things up down under, referencing the lower chakras. The 33 of the Christ energy, or the bridge, the diamonds, or dimensional gateway, and an open invitation to Christ unity with Sophia Big Bird, the Queen of Swords, handles all his swords and lights up his life. So I'm going to read that again. You're being called to the 4D bridge, the dimensional gateway, with an open invite from Christ to unity consciousness with Sophia Big Bird, Queen of Swords, who handles all of his swords and lights up his life. She, the golden rainbow body, and he in the golden whites. Together they make last rites wrong, or into a song. They with golden wings, with shaman, who carries feathers in his hair instead. He carries feathers in his hair of the root and the earth, of the TP and the peace pipes, always ready to give a hand, and how. Remember, the open hand is the healing hand, carrying the truth within their groundedness, which makes the Queen of Swords 44 instead of 52 between Christ 33 and Shaman 55. So here we have the 33, 43, 44, and 55. But actually the Queen of Swords is 52 between the 33 and 55, which then makes the 52 the 44, which is also the energy of the 4 of Cups, grounding, integrating, and mastering, how to receive love, and also the social worker type of Atlas, right? And then 44 is also the it's like the high vibe 3D person. Going into the 33 is the call to the 4D bridge, and then the shaman energy of going over to the 5D. I'm sorry, that's the other way. 55 is lower truth energy, shaman energy, very basic 3D energy. And then the 44 of that high 3D energy to the 33 of the bridge to be called to cross over to the 22, which is the 5D platform. From the ground to the etheric human, And then Christed Wounded Warrior Journey to the number 22, which is the Fool's platform, where you can jump off from 5D to anywhere you want to go, the 5D station. The 48 of the 8 of Cups, walking away and within to 0 point, the symbol of Om, the 30 with the crown on top, the 0 point field, the purple moon, where the moon is the MO and the ON, which is the Mary Magdalene with the human MO, and the ON, which is the human Jesus, who's on. The 29 of the 3 of Wands, which this card is the blue Madonna. So I've been getting this over and over again, that the black Madonna is actually very dark blue. The very dark blue Madonna holding space, seriously aligned with gifts to Beetle and Bella, where Beetle is coming up as the L is the 2 dots, not the line of the L, but the 2 dots and the leap of faith. So Beetle and Bella, notice with Juice and Tricks, and Juice is GE and USE, which is the energy use of Beetle, and Bella with her Tricks, which is Tri-X, which came up in the Gematria today. Tri-X is 3X, and the 3X8s that I always talk about. And literally, I can show that to you again in the 3 8s, right? So the 8 of the feminine, the 8 of the masculine, and when they come together, the shared part between, which becomes the hourglass, is the shared part, and then the ends of the 8s are actually their individual parts. And then here's that Star of Bethlehem again, as they are the 2 stars on their own, between their own masculine and feminine. And they each make an X, right? There's 3 X's right there. So Beetle and Bella with Juice and Tricks, GE use or energy use, and 3X8s. House of Crack Open the Egg in a Leap of Faith, and Bell with Human Reach. So this is all interpreted from Beetle and Bella. And Procyon, which is also in the Winter Triangle with Sirius and Beetle, brings the positive connections, the descendants and the guardians. The mother Sirius gifts, the father a pro, and Beetle Bella twins who stand on Orion's shoulders to get a lay of the land, while Orion, lower chakra system, reflects the dragon to heal themselves at 702 to 703 right here. And Spirit's connecting me with the Chariot and the 2 of the High Priestess, and then the Chariot and the 3 of the Empress. The blue Madonna with Sirius gifts, and the 51 of the King of Swords as the white father Procyon with purity and innocence. Winged and diamond light next to the 44 of the beacon, or Be Lighter, aka number 52, Queen of Swords. So notice when I brought up 33, 52, and 55, I automatically made the 52 a 44, right? Because that's what was missing between the two. And now in the same pile of cards, that 44 is coming up as the beacon of light, aka the 52 Queen of Swords, who goes with the King of Swords, who just came up. So the 51 King of Swords is coming up as Procyon, the white father, whereas the blue Madonna is Sirius. And then Beetlejuice is red. Okay, so we have the red, white, and blue there. But Beetlejuice is with Bella as the twins who stand on Orion's shoulder. Procyon is of purity and innocence, the winged with diamond light, next to the beacon 44, aka Queen of Swords number 52, to be lighter and allow him to lighten up her life by causing the waves to come in to trigger her heart and light up her heart, just as she dampens through her third eye his ego crown. So the 707 then comes up there. So the 2 7s are the 2 chariots of fire and ice, and the underlying energy in Isis is definitely coming up today. The 2 chariots of fire and Isis, the underlying energy of the 41 in service to the little ones, the 45 of purging to empower and find peace, and the 11/2, 2 different cards here, to decide to illuminate. As the moon illuminates, but the sun lights up completely. Libra and Pisces, balance and freedom, where butterflies are free to fly, fly away. With truth, balance, and alignment, and of sudden inner truths or epiphanies at the root of things, God speaks here to our hearts via the muse of the inner child, and we light up God in return. Literally, it's like the mountain lights up, like a lighthouse. We light our energy upward as we breathe out. That exercise I brought up the other day, of breathing it in, clearing out your body and your auric layers, but then sending that energy back up to source. There's that same kind of energy being rotated back to source here. So purging to empower and find peace. The 11 to decide, to illuminate with the 2 as the moon illuminates, but the sun lights up completely, Libra and Pisces. At the root here, God speaks to our hearts via the muse of the inner child, and we light up God in return. The first card out is the 15 of the devil or the shadow, to catch your breath after you do shadow work, and the 3 of celebrating our differences on earth as abundance and Mother Earth of the 3, the Empress, the unicorn and the dolphin, which can be the horse and dogs on the land, and the dolphin and with purpose in the sea. At sea, bridging infinity of the Knight of Cups dreams in the age of Aquarius, which means the ocean of laughter, God's vehicle of grace in the shifting universe. At 7:16, the chariot and the sudden events or epiphanies or sexual exchange. So at 717, so here's that 717 again, to abundance, the 4 card of pause of the fairy girl and the touchstone, touching base with the family tree for stability, safety, and security, where the Empress is at play, the Emperor is grounded, enjoying their children's differences, shadows, and their sudden events. There were 10 cards here, and the high vibe destiny. And at 720, again, there's 17 and 720, and I didn't do that on purpose at all. Those are the 2 numbers I ended up looking up. 7, the chariot, 20, the wake-up call, or the judgment. The 39 of the Knight of Cups, clearly not attached to spring, blanketing with white and borealis lights. And the 40 of the Page of Cups, with strong support to the little ones, blooming. Or the Knight of Cups is sharp and wintry, and the Page of Cups is more lovey and all about spring. The 30 of the Union Adventure, bridging the mountains with a shell. The clarion call to come home, any which way you can, over hill, over dale, rivers and oceans, set sail. Giant roses bloom to higher ground above the sheep, and flock to be the example of beauty, lighting up from within. The 33 of that Christ energy and standing up, but being gentle to yourself while you do that. The 19 of the sun and shifting your energy towards the sun, and the 1 that you are the vehicle of the sun. The magic divine masculine to make a wish and blow, as the 22 comes up on that magic journey to take a leap of faith and be that fool with an open heart and a magic wand. For the 46 of the loving inner children that you are, the loving child or the inner child, showing gratitude and appreciation, and the 14 for all those angels who have come before, the 4 seasons of the divine feminine, an assurance that this too shall pass, as sure as seasons change, and Spirit's connecting with me. So enjoy the moment with patience and balance in every moment of the day or night. At 7:30, which is the chariot and the union or the home, the underlying energy of the 39 Nine of Cups, in their metox, after the dust devil kicks up the dirt, to affect the King of Wands, 23, with luck and the right timing, turning to the right or forward. Oh, and I have to tell you this too. I have to interrupt right now. It was so weird. I went out my screen door today and the lock was inverted. I don't know how that happened, but now when I turn it to open it, it locks. And when I turn it to close it, it opens. It's completely opposite from what it used to be, and I don't know how that happened. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and I've been opening that door forever. I also commanded something of God a little earlier before I did the video, and right as I did that, and it had to do with healing, I looked out the window above the piano, and there's only a very small clearing. Everything in my view right here is of the trees or the street. You know, there's no clearing of the sky except this one little spot above the piano. And right as I made that command, I looked up, and in that one little spot of the sky, which is just out the window up here, that way, there was a balloon in the middle of the sky. Like, I never see balloons flying by. Like, that was such a random thing. And it looked like the shape of a light bulb. It was so weird. But I had to tell you that because it was very significant. The 39 Knight of Cups in their metox. After the dust devil kicks up some dirt to affect the King of Wands with their luck and right timing, turning to the right or forward with the 50 of the 10 of Cups, emotional fulfillment in the movement or flow towards adventure. To the Knight of Cups, 39, in their metox, in energetic exchange of the 34, the King of the Hill with the lay of the land, with water and earth, fiery, dry earth, not just earth, but like desert, not even desert, but red desert dry, repairing the body, the mind, and the spirit with ancestral wisdom. The 56 of the Two of Swords, knowing that it only takes a little hole to see the other side of the wall, which then projects light within, lighting up the audience to participate in the show without, the show of life without, as opposed to watching the movie from within. It's like within is a movie theater, whereas without is the play, right? It's a live show. Inspired by 33, the unity of music and art, a bass beat perhaps, and a wild cat with brushes. And of course always has the letter S inscribed on his base, which naturally a base has that S symbol on either side of the hole. The S is always inscribed for Sophia on his base, reflecting the strings pulled to their limit for just the right tone, or +1, at just the right angle, or the capital L, E-L, angel, at 740, which is the Chariot and the Page of Cups, which is that sweet, pure, innocent love. The first card here is the number 10 of the high vibe deep diver diving into a task. And the 60 of Peaceful Watchers, the Tion, T-I-O-N, which is the Tiger Lioness, the Desert Totem, the sign of the King of the Hill, found just the right spot, right? So he's on top of the mountain and he had to lay the land. So now he's found just the right spot to piggyback their shadow around and lighten them up, merging into one color. Because in this card, they're like a totem pole. They both look the same color of that red desert, the lion and the tiger. So again, the deep diver diving into a task with the Peaceful Watchers, number 60, the 10 and 60. By the way, 1060 is a radio station here in Philadelphia. Peaceful Watchers, Tion, the Tiger Lioness, Desert Totem, see the King of the Hill, found just the right spot to piggyback their shadow, which is their other, around and lighten them up by merging into one color of red earth, transpersonal, which references no secrets between them. So tar was coming up in all the words. So I told you already altar. So altar comes up with tar and avatar comes up with tar. And then star has tar as well as ashtar. Ashtar command has tar. So I just happened to write those words down. And all of the letters without the tars come up as the all or the whole or complete, everyone, to stop and finish what they're doing. It was coming up again like it is finished, like I brought up the other day. And another word came up in this reading, which I'll give you when I get to that, that also said it is done, it is finished, but in a different word that came up before, the word that's used when Jesus, when his soul leaves his body. But it came up in 3 different ways here, that it is finished. So all S, Ava, and Ash were coming up. And I think I have it on the next page the way it came out. And it's interesting, vase came up because that came up here in alchemy as well. So let's see here. So before I go forward at 7:44, before I started this read, I was guided to open a book. And I'd watched the Hansi Cronje story about a cricket player who had a fall, right? He was this amazing guy. He had a wake-up call in his life, so everyone really trusted him as this beautiful, profound person. And then he did something that was not beautiful, and he fell from grace. So I'm not going to tell you the whole story because you might want to watch it. It's on Netflix. But after I'd watched that, I was guided to open a page. And this is at 11:42 at night, which is justice and alignment, the 42 of the Two of Cups. And I opened a page of Let There Be Light, which is a book by my great-grandfather, David Lubin. And I opened to page 333, but also had to look at 332, which was on the same page. And it was titled Some Authorities. On page 332, right at the top, the sentence starts, because it's in the middle of a sentence. Faith must be built on a very weak foundation if we are afraid to look at a few books for fear of destroying it. Besides, I did not like your way of refusing. Very well, Miss Curiosity, take the books, but don't blame me if you lose your faith a second time. And that was from, Let There Be Light. So I didn't read the whole thing, but they were talking about a bunch of books that I think, Dorothy was my grandmother in the book there. She wanted to read them, but the elder there didn't want her to read them because it could cause her to disbelieve what she was raised in to believe. So again, talking about faith, that if just reading a few books will take your faith away, then maybe you needed to do that to strengthen your faith. So again, to face your fears, so to speak. And then I opened up Edgar Cayce Companion as well, and that opened to 3:12 to 13. And it was talking about all the different veggies to eat, which if we have time, I'll open the book, but I have a lot to bring here. So, all right, so back to the read at 10:60 with 7:44, which is the Chariot, and the 44 again, which we talked about, is the Atlas in a social worker sense, and the Grounding, Integrating, and Mastering How to Receive Love. Of course, that Four of Cups is also boredom and apathy, but you're in a higher vibration in this journey, so some of the cards take on different meanings. So 1060 came up as the Philadelphia AM news station. The reason I remember it is because that was the station you always turned to when you were little to see if it was a snow day and you were out of school or not, which is the only reason I remember it. So 1060 I looked up, and the entry God, wise, but W-I-S with no E on the end. And then 750 came up. And 750 is 18 karat gold, which is strange. Why is God's wisdom coming up as, 75% basically? The nation judged, here we go. Yummy, owls. The daughter of Zion came up here, as well as Social Security, worm, Stockholm Syndrome, and then the Divine Sun, which came up also with the number 144. First Love came up as the 13th entry, as well as entry number 18 was the word hell 5 times, but then 4 times of that. So hell written 5 times, times 4, so hell written 20 times, came up with 4440 and 740, which is like hell freezing over, right? The 30th entry was the birth of kids by Christ. And then strange sixth sense. The 32nd entry was the flag of the United States. And the 32 is the journey. So WIS 750 came up from minicorp.com. It came up as a color, Windsong Tropical Red, which was $23.15 a yard, by the way. And then WIS came up as, it can be wise, but it also means to know, to imagine, to think, suppose, duty, responsibility, bundle, twig, wistock, which is a dishcloth, or already, true, safe, and trustworthy. So back to the read, the deep divers and the watchers, and the 25 of the Knight of Wands in the Garden of Venus, and the music from deep within that others enjoy in a beautiful garden or environment, the Moroccan environment perhaps, And that brings up Atlas again, the Atlas Mountains, and the Hercules Mountains, which is the other mountain in Ceuta, or the Spanish territory. The Morocco and Spain, the map to her harvest. Her harvest is Hercules. Atlas is at last, her love has come along. With a map to Ceuta to cross to Gibraltar that points to England, or is that France, right? So it points to France. It points to England, right? Because we came over from England as the 13 colonies. And the strait, the Gibraltar Strait, also points to the United States as well. But did it point to France with the Statue of Liberty is what is coming up right here. So who is the mother of the U.S.? Is it actually England or is it France? That was interesting coming up. So then tar came up, which means donkey, string, instrument. So string instruments were coming all over the place in definitions here. Not just tar, but other words were coming up with string instruments too. Donkey, string instrument. Remember, you are the string instrument, right? We pull each other's strings and we hollow ourselves out to allow that source God, love energy to flow through us. Tar also means to be. It means bald. To come, survive, to fly, be quick, over, across, and the plural of terra. It also means e-star or stand. Oak, pine wood, resin, tree, program file. And so I was guided, what did I want to look up? I wanted to look up something from, I have Elena Danan's book of the ETs. And I went to look up one of the Pleiadian words, because she has a list of Pleiadian words in the book. And I couldn't find it right away, but I did find another book I forgot I had. And most of my books I haven't read all the way through, but I've bought them for one reason or another to reference. And this was the Most Holy Trino Sophia, or Trino Sophia. It's referencing Saint Germain. And so I opened it to page 57. And on the page was just a picture of the writings that they're talking about in the book. And this page, I can't read it to you because it was in French, but it did start with bleu, el, s'appelle. So it was like, the first thing when I saw it, it's about her name, or I'm not sure exactly what they're saying in reference to what it was kind of faded out, so it's hard to read everything. But as soon as I saw bleu, el, s'appelle, I was getting blue apples, which has to do with olives in the southern France. So remember the blue apples and the olives in southern France, and we're just talking about England and France. So on page 131 of this book, I got into this book and I was like, can't believe I've never read it because it was so interesting. And I read a whole bunch of it. So page 131, it references that Adam is actually ADM because they didn't used to use vowels. And ADM is 144. It's a 9. And it's also 144. That's Adam. The wise man enters. And then it talks about the process of alchemy and how it relates to the astrological chart and the 81 thrones, which is tar. Okay, which is why this came up with tar. So on page 131, it was going through the numbers 1 through 9 and the astrological chart, and I got to the 7th, which was referencing the bird and Jupiter, the light and the truth, and the 8th was the small altar of Saturn, virtue's fruit. The 9th was the torch. It springs forth, and it references the 9 masters as well, and the fixed stars as opposed to a planet. So I went back to the 1, because I was trying to figure out if there's only 9, but there's 12 astrological signs, how does this work? The 1 was the cube, a gray cube of Earth. The second, which it represents spirit and birth, or spiritual birth. And then the second one is the 3 cylinders of black stone, which represents selflessness, the phases of the moon. The third was the rounded crystal of Mercury and the end of the cycle. The 4th was the crest of the blue plumes, and I was getting the blue apples there with Venus. And there was a reference to Aquarius there too, about the leg of the great man and Mars. The 5th was the silver vase, so there's the vase coming up, and the birth of the spirit and the sun. The 6th was regeneration with the cluster of grapes, and the 7 rings, which leads to the 7 rings of think that said Venus, and the eighth sphere of Neptune. Or does that reference Saturn because it talks about a ring of fixed stars? But, the rings aren't stars, but there's that reference to the ring of fixed stars, which there are 15 stars, which most deem as the most significant stars that are fixed in our astrological, or in the sky, the brightest stars. So here, free of all illusion, dwells in light and sings praises to the Father in a voice only pure of spirit can understand. In this book, it talks about baptism, and it's all about alchemy. And baptism is the outer symbol of the inner truth. I'm quoting from the book. Shemayim is the divine fiery water, which equals the universal Mercury, which is why Mercury is coming up, because Mercury is the baptism source, right? It's God. So the universal Mercury is that voice of God, the word that then transitions to us. The universal Mercury equals Azoth, a spirit of life that is measureless, and the divine fiery water, so like the dragon's breath, which is the ether. So the word of God divides into spirit and matter, which is solar fire, and lunar water, which is the four elements. The fire water passes through Eden, which means vapor, and pours itself onto the four main rivers, which are the four elements. So ether isn't actually the fifth element. It is the element that the four elements come from. The God source that splits into four. The elements are the conditions of the universal Mercury, the tincture water by which the righteous are baptized. And that's page 135 of the book. So remember that Eden equals vapor, because we're going to go into this more, which equals the universal Mercury goes through Eden as vapor to become, it is the ether that becomes the four elements. All right, so the universal Mercury equals the solvent of the sages, which equals baptism, which equals purification, which is twofold. The lunar power with water by John the Baptist, but the solar principle of fire is the messianic baptism. The silver axe with the blue handle is the destroyer, and they're describing the symbols and the pictures in the book. Left the voice to its fullness in chant, or using song. The axe is a symbol of initiated builders, and separate or division through purification. So representing the need for division through purification, which is what the twins have just gone through, right, with Dark Night of the Soul. Libra divides the lower hemisphere from the upper hemisphere and is Passover. It's representing the material to the immaterial by alchemical baptism. The lion in the picture is now crowned with 7 rays of the will. No longer, Spirit's connecting with me, no longer the despotic lion or on the earlier illustration. Ambition has been transmuted into aspiration and bestows courage upon the spiritual enterprise. So the bunch of grapes equals illumination, which is then referencing Omega, because that's also referencing illumination, with the affinity for gold, right? They always use gold as the illuminating color, where gold is abundant. And this is why. Where gold is abundant, roots in the vineyards absorb and distribute through the stalks, the leaves, and the fruit. It really loves the gold. And then you eat it through the fruit. And the groups of grapes, grow together on one vine, like a bunch of students all grow together on a single branch. The lion and the grapes of wisdom and generation. Okay, so remember the symbology there, or the symbolism of lion and grapes, wisdom and generation. A kindle of light at the 7th hour of dawning struck me funny, because it's another clue to this, right? The 7 in the age of Aquarius, the dawning of the age. When the moon's in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, then truth will guide the planet and love will steer the stars. So here is the kindling, and again, this is a Saint Germain translation here. The kindle of light, or that flame goes up at the 7th hour of dawning, which then they reference they believe that is noon, because then noon came up. It's full sun at noon, at high noon. So basically, if it dawns at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m., then noon would be the 7th hour of dawning. So you are to dance in a circle to honor your giver of life. At Scorpio, so then it skips from, it doesn't talk about the earlier signs, and I didn't read the whole book. I opened the page to this certain page and just read from there on. But it didn't go into the earlier signs. It really goes into the second half of the horoscope, because the first 6 signs are supposed to be about the self, whereas the second 6 signs are more about the collective. It's like that awakening. And they talk about the eighth one here is Scorpio, of dark and somber waters, which is a time of rituals and Halloween, right where the veil is supposed to be thin. Scorpio releases the Ka into the Amenti, so into the records, liberating the soul from prejudice and vice using the philosophical salt, or wisdom. So salt is wisdom, right? The grounded man is a wise man. Of Mercury, of personal skill and application. Of sulfur, which is vital energy and the fire of will. The wise man equals the salt of the earth, who's also very experienced. So the salt of the earth is someone who is very experienced. Salt preserves bodies as well. So the philosophical salt heals wisdom of the soul. So after the salt, initiate approaches the edge. They're talking about the initiate or the student, how they go through alchemy and learn this. After the salt, the initiate approaches the edge of the somber lake or Scorpio and perceives at a distance a bridge called the strong to be subdued, the reflector, the shadow, the rainbow bridge, the earth to paradise, where dwell 12 Ases, A-S-E-S, the hierophants of the world. Then we go to the great temple of Sagittarius on page 139 and the Trojan horse. The temple with the adepts in it is the Trojan horse. The priesthood and the mystery school. The death of the physical body, hidden and brought into view and then stripped off. The gate of the end, when the leg of the waterman or the Aquarius turns in the circle, the equinox in Aquarius. Then 40 in brotherly love assembled together to the 4 quarters, and the bird. So again, 40 of brotherly love then assembled together to the 4 quarters of the world, and the bird. Below in the mortal sphere, to be held in the gateway until it's in its place, is the coming in the 4th quarter, which is referenced as Aquarius. So the 4th quarter is the last 3 signs, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. And they use the initials MB as their chemical process accomplished. But that's not actually the words that are said, but it may be in another language. But the MB is supposed to mean seek after the all-proverbial Lord, who is guardian of the tree of life. As fire or iron, so iron's referenced as fire, revives the ashes. So there's the rising. So the last 3 signs are like the 3 days of Jesus rising. In the 9th chamber of Sagittarius, you aren't able to expand further without the 3 greater keys. Right here, it comes to a halt, unless you're able to obtain these 3 greater keys. This is the 4th quarter. And they also describe the initiates in golden armor, but with blue clothing underneath. So they're blue and gold right here. The robe changes though here, right? Once you get to the 9th or the 10th chamber rather, from Sagittarius to Capricorn, the robe changes from blue to green, and it references the digestion, that it changes color. The alchemized substance changes color, or they call it peacock because of the blue-green changes. It illuminates at a certain point, or it becomes iridescent during one period of digestion. And it's the corruption here is said to come about by art. So the corruption hall is the next hall. The 2 lakes, so the hall is in 2 parts of 2 lakes. One is the beginning of corruption and one is the end of corruption. The beginning of decay and then ends in death. It destroys all differences between the principles, and thus the divine stone. Personality is destroyed so that the soul can come through as the diamond soul of the rose cross. And again, this is referenced regarding alchemy. Then we're in Capricorn with the 3 keys, the mysteries of Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. We're in the green robe with the crown of gold in Capricorn. And the Capricorn is considered the golden man. You've now accomplished the golden man, but you still need the 3 keys for enlightenment. And here's where the eggs reappear. It's like your eggs that have gone south now reconstitute themselves and now are active again. It's like, the rising of the ashes, the becoming alive after being dead. The eggs come back to be viable again. The butterfly and the 3 degrees of resurrection here. This represents the butterfly stages. So the ovum to the larva is the ignorant man. The larva to the pupa is the disciple. And the pupa to the imago is the enlightened. And this is the hall of the sphere of retribution. So then on page 144 is the alchemy. Then the alchemy returns to the original state. So alchemy is the returning of the man to the original God state. The 11 of mastering of thought. So then we go into Aquarius is all about mastering your mind. Like, think about what stage of this process you're in. Did you get through to the golden Capricorn man? And are you now purifying your thought patterns, right? After going through all that other stuff, your dark night of the soul, and dying, all that, you went through all that stuff with the other signs first. And now you're at the place of mastering, really tweaking your thought patterns. The servant of the spiritual self. With no earth chains. No earth chains can bind the philosophical Mercury, or that universal Mercury, which is that God source energy of word. Nothing can seep through the iron vessel, or the iron vessel is considered the warrior. Whether it's glass or porcelain, it'll get through it no matter what, and vanish in spite of every effort to capture its quintessence. So the philosophical, nothing can defeat it, basically. The philosophical Mercury can see through anything. It can see through iron, glass, or porcelain, and vanish in spite of every effort to capture its quintessence. And this is in Aquarius. And then the bird comes up of Amphitrya. And if I don't say it right, I'm sorry, I don't know the word. With wings, so the butterfly wings add on to the wings they already have. And it references a mother shall bear the likeness here of the male and the female principles of wisdom, which come up as ibis and the butterfly, are united into one creature, which is then where Isis comes up. The bird is forced into corruption. They nail the wings of the bird to the tower or to the wheel, like the dove of the Semiramis, or Ixion, I-X-I-O-N, passes through 2 greater pillars to the hall of wisdom. So, and then you get the triangle with the circle around it and the square around it, which is the union. But something for me came up other than that at the end. So Isis comes up here, which is basically what was coming up here, the relationship between Isis and the Statue of Liberty and nature that points up to the divine light. Her own source, with the other hand, carries 3 globes, 3 parts of the Philosopher's Stone, bound by golden rings. So again, according to man, the book is the same thing as the 3 keys on the ring, according to the feminine energy. So she's coming up as a reference to the Statue of Liberty, carrying the 3 globes in the book in her arm with the flame in the other. The man is with golden armor and blue undergarment here. In hand is a white wand with magic characters, the baton of the adept. So what was coming up for me here was that at one point Thoth and Metatron, that used to be one energy, have split into 2, right? Where Thoth is the lower energy of the mind with the butterfly, or Isis, and then Metatron and the butterfly is coming up as the Mary Magdalene energy. Very interesting. because there is definitely that reference to the bird energy in Thoth, to Isis, to Ibis and Isis. But Metatron and the butterfly with the Mary Magdalene, and Jesus template of the twins. And they're coming up as sisters here. And sisters was interesting because some of the words that came up in the Pleiades list of words were Jeha and Jehu, sister and brother. And it's really funny because my daughter's name is Jenna, but people, she has a nickname of Jay, and her boyfriend has a nickname of Jay as well, which is really funny. So you have Jeha, sister, and Jehu, brother. And Tar, T-A-R, means the throne or the seat. And the word pineapple came up yesterday too, which is, again, the pine reference to the third eye, and the apple to the blue apples, but also the apple in the Garden of Eden. And crimson red was coming up here, which is important because that comes up in the end of the alchemy process. So those different tar words that came up, altar, star, avatar, and ashtar, were coming up as alchemy achieves red, or the whole, the wholeness, being at ease. So heaven's crown at this point is now on his helmet. Isis springs into the air with her new master. Nature, destroyer of the ignorant, the servant of the wise. So nature is the destroyer of the ignorant and servant of the wise. Wise men ascends into the presence of the three masters of the universal lodge, whose radiant sun blazes in the sky. So here's that important word sky as well, which was on the note in the color purple. When we get to Pisces, that's considered nirvana. The stone is projected here, the secrets of nature revealed, and the initiate soars upwards, saying, consummatum est, which is, again, that reference of it is finished, of Jesus on the cross, right, leaving his body. It means accomplished, perfected, completion, basin. It's a basin they describe where the drops trickle. The desert of the blazing fire, the agent that allows the drops to escape. Or in other words, the vapors ascend. So again, the basin that captures the drops that trickle. And the drops that trickle is the reference to the consummatum est, or the consummatum est, which is whichever way you want to pronounce it, but it means it is finished. The desert of the blazing fire, so again referencing what I just told you about, like the reddish desert, which was coming up in the cards, right? It's more than just a desert, it's the red desert of blazing fire, the agent that allows the drops to escape, which is the vapors. The fire allows the water to become, or the solids to become vapors and ascend. The adept is then lifted up, and after 36 days, which 36 is the Atlas energy, it's the 10 of Wands, after 36 days is born to the upper part of the globe. Heat is then reduced and he descends, but now his robe that was green has become red. He has digested a certain amount of time, and the red elixir is the universal medicine, which equals the fiery water, which is luminescent in the dark. He is now considered the universal medicine. He has become the ruby diamond, which is referencing that he has become that God spark. Gazes at the Hierophant at that point, in completion, in the Hall of Thrones, in the wise man's house. So again, the last three parts were coming up as the bird, the altar, and the torch, which is, they're telling you where you are in your journey right now. The bird was referenced, though, it was interesting because it wasn't with the typical signs matched up. The bird was matched up with Jupiter, but with Capricorn, not with Sagittarius. And the altar was matched up with Aquarius or Saturn, I wasn't sure which. And then the torch wasn't matched up with a planet, it was matched up with the fixed stars in Pisces. United into one spiritual body, projecting of the stone is the final test. The adept strikes the golden sun, shattering it. He touches the broken parts, and they too become suns on their own, and that proves his magic. The divinity is present in all. And that's the confirmation of a new master. So the bird in Capricorn is that the work is done, right? It is done. So we keep getting that message that it is done. So you are the golden man, and now we're just dealing with these with the 3 keys. The altar, well, actually the golden man is the first key, right? That the work is done. The second key is the altar, which is referencing the altar, the Statue of Liberty, which is the message I'd gotten a long time ago, many years ago, that the twins will meet at the base of the Statue of Liberty, where the the Atlantis altar is above there, where the Pleiadian ship will come in to meet them there with a message. It's like they're literally passing something down at the head of the Statue of Liberty. But Isis is coming up here as the Statue of Liberty and Aquarius, and then the 12th stage of Pisces is the torch of Lady Liberty, literally God's altar above the Statue of Liberty, right, where you ascend to the other side. So Capricorn's coming up as the angel Sophia, the altar is coming up as the God Christ, and then the torch is coming up as the flame spark. And this is how it comes together, the mother, father, child. The angel Sophia, the God Christ, and the flame spark of the children. And this is at 1019. I go back to the cards, the Garden of Venus, with 9 cards, which is funny because we just got finished talking about the 81 thrones of alchemy. And again, pineapple, that word as the third eye in the apple of the blue apple, but also the apple in the Garden of Eden. Notice that pineapple has to do with Popeye and olive oil, right? Because Popeye is the third eye, the pop eye, and olive oil is the apple, because it's olives. So literally pineapple is referencing Popeye and olive oil. And Oliver always reminds me of the orphan. So there's a reference there as well. So the Garden of Venus and 9 cards. And going back to the beginning of this alchemy page, moon, water, and sun, fire in the Garden of Venus, the universal Mercury. Of the 9, which is the hermit, which is Mercury. And Mercury references the enlightened one. And then it was taking me back to where Jupiter and Saturn were conjunct. And that's why Capricorn and Aquarius were coming up in those places, because when Jupiter and Saturn were conjunct, they were conjunct where Capricorn was going into Aquarius. So there was conjunction in Capricorn and Aquarius. And then Neptune, the 8th sphere, was coming up in the ring of stars. And again, the 8th sphere is referencing purgatory, which you guys all know about that already anyway. But we're actually in it, experiencing it, the 8th dance and all that kind of stuff. But again, I came across something online that led me, when I was researching some of this, to the planet number 9, which is a planet they haven't found yet. But they have all these other things out in space that, according to physics and all that kind of stuff and their research, if they exist, then there has to be this planet number 9 that we can't see, but it wouldn't be in a really cold area, I guess past Pluto right there. So again, there's that number 9 energy of the 9 by 9 is 81 of the 81 thrones. Is that what it was? 81 thrones? Yeah, 81 thrones for the 9 masters. Anyway, you can look that up if you'd like. And that I have the book here. I'll show that to you. So here's the book, The Most Holy Trino or Trino Sophia of the Comte de Saint Germain. Introductory material and commentary by Manly P. Hall. Okay. I forget how I came across that book, but I'm like, where did I get this from, So, and back to the read, we're at 1041, which is the Wheel of Fortune, the 41 of the Ace of Cups, and the 21 card, which is 21 is whole and complete. We just talked about it is finished, it is whole and complete, and the Pisces energy of 1 foot in this world, 1 in the next. And then the first breath that needs to be taken of Aether, the beginner's mind. The dance of the planets, and again, that's the card with Linda and Paul McCartney on it. And Linda's maiden name was Eastman, by the way. Then the 42 card of the Two of Cups of the Netcaster, with preparations coming to fruition of the Two of Cups. And the 44, again, of the energy of the social worker Atlas, and the perfect storm, the courage to step into life. With the Raven Peacock, remember peacock references the digestion from blue to green, the iridescence of it, of blue to green, which also with the gold and all of their colors, they always had gold on as well, references the transition from the yellow of the solar plexus to the gold, to the blue of the throat, and of course the green is in the middle of the heart. So the Raven Peacock, which comes up as one of this card here, on the eagle's perch, very much the peacock of colors of blue and green and gold, on the eagle's perch, as Isis equals Aset, A-S-E-T, and also Eset, E-S-E-T. The queen of the throne equals the winged goddess who brought fresh air, or ether, to the underworld when she went to meet her husband. Isis is the sister and wife of god Osiris, and it is said that they were in love even in the womb, and of course she's mother of Horus as well. Seth was the jealous brother who dismembered Osiris and scattered his parts all over Egypt. And, you know, everyone was so impressed by how committed that Isis was to finding his parts and putting them all back together. And then she raised to the level of Queen of the Universe as opposed to Queen of the Throne. And this was at 1140, and I got a big connection right there. Finding all of his pieces and bringing them back together, because that's what you're doing for your masculine as well, right? In soul retrieval, bringing all of his pieces back to his self as Queen of the Universe. And so I was guided to Revelations, came up online here, 3 from 7 to 13. And it was so crazy because it literally starts, and I thought it wasn't in the Bible, because it said, write this letter to the angel of the church in Philadelphia, which I'm, you know, in the Philadelphia area. So I'm like, huh? Is this actually the Bible? I'm like, oh yeah, it is. All right, so this was one of the letters. And of course, this is the right one because it's written to me in Philadelphia. Write this letter to the angel of the church in Philadelphia. This is the message from the one who is holy and true, the one who is the key of David. What he opens, no one can close. What he closes, no one can open. I know all things you do, and I have opened the door for you that no one can close. You have little strength, and yet you obey my word and did not deny me. Look, I will force those who belong to Satan's synagogue, those liars or liars who say they are Jews but are not, to come and bow down at your feet. They will acknowledge that you are the ones I love. Because you have obeyed my command to persevere, I will protect you from the great time of testing that will come upon the whole world to test those who belong to this world. I am coming soon. Hold on to what you have so that no one will take away your crown. All who are victorious will become pillars in the temple of my God, and they will never have to leave it. And I will write on them of my God, and they will be citizens in the city of my God, the new Jerusalem that comes down from the heaven from my God. And I will also write them my new name. Anyone who wishes to hear must listen. Anyone with ears to hear must listen to Spirit and understand what he is saying to the churches. And that was from BibleGateway.com. And it was, I just picked the Orthodox Jewish Bible just for the heck of it to see how it was written. So yeah, there was a message for you right there, big one. And remember, Mercury is the enlightened one. In the ring of fixed stars, and the dove comes up as the ring of fixed stars as well. We're moving from the dove to the swan. So T42 came up here. 21 to 42 is coming up as T42. And then 144 as the cards came up. In the perfect storm, digesting blue and gold to green with golden eagle crown. The 43 of coming together in overflow, flooded Taj Mahal, which references St. Francis of Assisi, which I actually was in a backroom mass in St. Francis of Assisi before it was destroyed, which Assisi is also referencing Isis, yes. Flooded Taj Mahal, regarding St. Francis of Assisi and Isis, in the overflow, the overwhelming plenty, and the horned cactus, which is the opposite of that, the 29 of being present with your gifts, with no emotion, being a desert. Flooded and desert dry, the 13 of transition, with the flying monkeys, trying to distract you from your mission. The 5 of the closing door to freedom and change, where the Hierophant says you've completed the cycle. The 40 of the Page of Cups, innocent one, where Paul McCartney's life lesson, his birthday is 6/18/42, his life lesson number is 40, the Page of Cups of that innocence. In the mindful group think, with the Page of Cups, is the 54 Page of Swords of the universal Mercury, the crossing over to initiation. 2 ravenous show-offs of golden, blue, green, dive and rise as the eagle, rise and dive again, to pass the dream thief test, transitioning to freedom at 12:21. And instead of writing the triangle inside the circle, inside the square, it was 2 triangles of the Merkaba inside the circle, inside the square, which I guess references the Israeli flag. I can't remember exactly. But Page of Cups and Page of Swords coming up as pure Neptune and Mercury as the Christed twins. At 12:23 to 24, which is the King and Queen of Wands hanging out, crowning to Omega, because that's the Omega is a representation of enlightenment when you get to the crown. Hieros Gamos, or Hiragami, the holy sacred spoils, the gamut, the array, the spectrum, the sacred gamma array, the sacred digamma, the dear ones, the chaos, the sacred water, which is the holy water, and the universal Mercury. The heroes' games, the temple, the holy place, sex of the gods, the ritual of marriage. At 1, 2, 3, 4, shut the door. There was your message. Pretty profound, huh? And I did a big healing too for my niece last night. And I was getting my other great nephew is her twin, and he has the brightest light. Oh my God. I met him for the first time a few weeks ago. And I think I told you this already, but he smiles at everyone. He's just such a joyous child and really beautiful. But when I met him, he didn't just reach his arms out like to go around you. He reached his arms out in the middle, like together, straight, like he was channeling his love energy to me. I mean, I can't express to you the kind of light that was coming out of that child. And he was connecting with me for my niece as well, because they're connected. But I was definitely connecting with them both last night. Really intense, beautiful energy coming out of these little babies, you guys. So really soak that up, really appreciate being in their presence. So, I have to read, I don't know if I have a picture of this part. I pulled out a few Wild Unknown cards, which I tell you as I'm going. And then I went into a whole Wild Unknown read for you guys. I did this is my 4-deck read, but I'm getting into some other cards first before this read. So this is the Wild Unknown deck at the top, and then the Kipper deck, the Gilded, and then the Lenormand Reverie. Those are the 4 decks. And you see I added some of the Rider-Waite Mini at the bottom there for clarifiers at the end. All right, so that's my 4-deck read coming up. But before that is these were just Wild Unknown cards that led into something very significant as well. So I have to bring this to you. So this was today. And it was really funny too, because there's a dog behind us there's a fence between us, so Teddy can always go up and say hi to her. but she's much older than him. And today he was being very antisocial, like he was like pretending like he didn't see her. And she was actually, she's usually kind of, you know, come see, come saw about seeing Teddy because he's much younger than she is. But she was waiting at the fence for him today. And he went up there, but he just peed a couple times. He didn't really go up to her to talk to her, which he normally does. It was really interesting. He was being kind of antisocial. And it was funny too, because I never see them out walking. And I saw her with her owners out walking today in front of our house. So from just the Wild Unknown card, I just pulled a few cards this morning after I'd gotten up and got myself all together. And this was at 9:22 to 23, which is the Hermit and the 22 of the Fool, the 23 of the King of Wands. And the cards that came up was the Tarantula, Scorpion, and the Lion. And I got the Lion King right away. That all the crossroads and perhaps some jealousy of the lion, or this is somebody wanting to trigger the lion here. And I was getting this energy. They were giving me the example of Teddy and Annika, the dog behind us. And it's where Teddy was ready to pounce on her before, but now is at a crossroads as the scorpion triggers the lion to get a rise out of them, but it doesn't work this time. The lion is still calm. They cannot be triggered, while the tiger stalks as the bat lost in space without directions, unable to ground themselves when the lion doesn't pay attention, right? So the lion is very well grounded here, but the tiger still gets triggered. And tiger is coming up as T-I-G-E, as angry, smoke, 3, many, and tar. Okay, so the tiger is tar. Someone who, it's the throner, the throne. Tar is throne, and tiger is throner, the one who thrones. It's also the steel, a pin and a gun, a stem, and the shin bone of the leg was coming up here, and shin splints may be coming up for somebody. But, and also one's physical health or structure or their physical body state. And this is all about the tiger and the lion. And we talk about that all the time, is the Tyon, and the one card that has the tiger and the lion's totem pole in the desert. So the tiger equals the lion's throne, or the body. So the throne here is the body. Their physical health, their body type or structure, that the tiger is meant to move, but perhaps they have shin splints and they're angry with 3 pins in their leg and thorn in their side. The tiger equals the right angle connection to the throne, because the lion is the L of the right angle, and ion, which is the connection, which is coming up as the annex of the main terminal, the main body. So the tiger equals the right angle connection to the throne of the royal tiger lineage, but they are not, they're mad because they're not next in line. It's like, you know, a cousin of the throne. They're in line to be king, but they're not next in line. So the tiger's coming up as the bat out of hell. They're having jealousy regarding their status. And I was trying to think of what the expression was. I'm like, what am I, meatloaf? And then I was getting from the rap song, what am I, pork chops? Certainly not steak here. So bat out of hell was coming up here. So meatloaf was coming up. But also the body is the temple, and the tiger is ungrounded. And then liverwurst, what am I, liverwurst? And then finally I remembered it was, what am I, chopped liver? So it's so funny how much they had to take me through the different words to get to chopped liver. So the tiger's saying, what am I, chopped liver? I'm certainly not steak around here. The body is the temple, but the tiger is ungrounded. The body is the temple. The tiger is ungrounded when they're out of the bat cave. So maybe at home they're good at getting grounded, but when they go out, they're still getting triggered. So tiger, also broken down as T-I and G-E-R. For me, T-I is source. And G-E-R is male convert to Judaism, which was very interesting, as well as a yurt, which is a tent dwelling, not like a teepee, but more like a home, you know, a temporary stay. Jur or gur is also squirrel. Word, as we talk about word from God and the whole alchemy process. Saying, report, to do, to make, to brew or arbitrate. War, to measure, spear. Year and flock, swarm, greediness, gluttonous, year, spear, frost, and being frigid. and the GE of the giver, or in other words, having the energy to give. So tiger equals source word. The male convert to Judaism is the lion's throne. The lion is king, but the tiger is the temple. The annex off the center line, where in that the church in France that I was telling you about, where I was guided to the vortex as a little girl. I said I was a little girl in that corner, and I went over to that corner, and I found a note in the wall and an impression on the plate on the floor right in front of me, which was an impression of a little girl bending down, but it also can be an impression of both Jesus and Mary Magdalene together. So it took me back to that church, because when I went in there, they advertised the big vortex as the altar in that little church. It's just like a chapel. It's very tiny. But when other people were at the altar, and I was just looking around the rest of the little church, I was guided to this other place where then we found out later from the man and the woman who were writing a book about all of the Mary Magdalene structures. He told us that what people don't know, and they pointed at me where she was, is the vortex of the building. So here we're talking about the annex, and that vortex was an annex. It was off the center line of the church. The lion is king, but the tiger is temple. The annex off the center line, where I found the vortex, off the beaten path. Right of the altar, left of the entrance. The altar is the all throne. And remember when I say one for all and all for one, sometimes it's A-L-L and sometimes it's A-W-L, which is making the whole, whereas the all is the whole. It's the whole with the W and the whole without the W. That all A-L-L is status, or the A-W-L is the whole maker. Taking the high road, and the THR of 309 also came up, where 309 references 369, but that the 6 is in the middle at the 0 point. Taking the high road of 1, 309, which equals 369, where the middle is 0 point field, where there's actually two of them, 369 and 369, because 3 is half Christ, 6 is half Sophia, and 9 is half compassion, where they share half of each, which becomes the 33, 66, and 99. Sharing the easy pass connection of compassion, calm passion. The all of the altar is under, at, to, and trap, a trick, blood red crimson, and the alder tree or birch. Already everything, other, another, the rest. The eel, the all, A-W-L, the whole, and the all, A-L-L. So here A-L means both of them anyway. Each and every, fire and water. The flag, breeding, fostering, and nourishing. Old, aged, stale, and side. The lower part, to go, he, him, even, and A-L, which means at or to the. And the Indian mulberry, to make, dye. And the eel, E-E-L, is the E-E of energetic exchange, and the lowercase l is the two dots, and the quantum leap. The electric electron was coming up here, where literally Ron, so it comes up as the electrics with an X, not a C, and the electron, because Rix and Ron are the same suffix. One is masculine, one's feminine. So the electrics, like Bellatrix, and electron for the masculine energy. The whole with a W and the whole without a W of the throne. The two U's, the whole and the whole without two U's. The throne for each and all. The fire and the water, which is the universal Mercury. The electrix of the divine feminine and the electron of the divine masculine, where she is 9, he is on. She is I am the crazy eights dance of the chakra system, and he is the human Jesus. In energetic exchange, the arrows of love, one equal and congruent to, one equal and congruent to. The fire sun and the water moon, the source of Mercury, split into the divine masculine and the divine feminine. The fire water passes through Eden, which is vapor, through the word. The word pours on to the 4 elements, or becomes the 4 conditions of the universal Mercury. The sun, which is spirit, or fire and air, and the matter, which is the moon, which is earth and water. The vapor is steam, heat, melancholy, hypochondria, the blues, hysteria, wind, flatulence, insubstantial, solid, liquid, to gas, and to boast, bluster, to depress or bore. The steamboat, the ship. Also exhalation is steam. The smoke, warmth, heat, the ardor of love is all about vapor. And then I broke it down to va and pour, where the va, of course, is go, and also the va, 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 voom. But the pour and va are also both fours, which again referencing 44, vapor. Earth, land, world, and island is all pour, P-O-R. Fear, leaks, for, by, around. Dust, powder, male, pig. Hair, can, pour, throughout. Feather, on behalf of. I like that too, because we just talked about being half of, right? 369 and 369 are each half of each. Half Sophia, half Christ, and half of compassion. It's also a clause of X, P-O-R-Y, as in X and Y. Pour in the middle. X equals the clause, and Y equals the infinite verb in the clause without a motive. Fire, monohull, dugout, canoe is also coming up here for pour. And va is all those energies: to go, walk, to give, to let. It's the passageway in the forest. It's the way out, being vain. Again, the number 4, the wife, the boat, to hear, understand, behold, here is. Voila also comes up. And also house, to give, to let, allow, to wade, to be, will, okay, to free. And va is also water supply and sewage. Also to bump into. And wind, flower, and bird, which reminded me of the last 3 keys. Eden is the paradise. But Eden is also ED, which I always reference as Mr. Ed, and the extra dimensionals. And ED is the plural of Eden. Eden is also heaven, one, and etmek, which means to equal, to make even. Vapor means to exhale, to depress. So inhale is to express and make happy. Vapor is the blues, the word, boring, boasting, steamer, ship, and romance. So Eden, which means vapor, equals 44, which equals heaven on earth, which equals ED, Mr. Ed, which equals one, and God, which means to equal, he, wife, to allow, on behalf of, feather, pour, hair, earth. Go bump into fear. Blow, flower, fly around the earth. The forest passageway, times 4. Y, right? The X, P-O-R means 4, so it's also coming up, X, pour, Y is also coming up as X, 4Y. The forest passageway, X for Y, is the Crazy Eight's dance at 0 point, quantum leap of faith. The digamma oath is faith. Walk on fire in the whispering bench. Go through the pore or the hole onto the other side. Eden's plural is ED. Infinite paradise equals extra dimensional Mr. Ed. And Mr. is the capital M of co-creation and the R of gamma. Co-creation gamma at 0 point. ED is extra dimensionally. So Eden is one equal and congruent to the lion's den of Jesus. One equal and congruent to divine. One equal and congruent to Christ. All of this is Eden. So Mercury passes through Eden, vapor, breath, as ether. That ether equals the 4 elements divided on earth. God speaks word, the origin of 2 U's, and Mercury or ether passes through Eden or vapor, or 44, Ed, 1, heaven on earth, one equal and congruent to the lion's den, the right angle connection, the annex of he, wife, the feather, the pour, the hair. Notice the pour is a hole to jump through. To go bump into fear, to blow, flower, and fly around the earth. Walk on fire, go through the pore or hole. The leap of faith or digamma oath. In Crazy Eight's dance at 0 point through the forest of X4Y, the forest man, which is what orangutan is, which splits 4 ways to find their way back to Eden again. or vapor back to source, which is that disappearing act, the ghosting. So at 11:16, which is justice in the 16 of Scorpio, but also the tower, the lion's den, the tiger's temple, home and body, the etheric and the physical. The lion's heart is calm with source. The tiger must deal with the physical body and learn to ground, of course. At 11:20 is justice and the 20, which are both the most legal energies in the deck. 11 of justice, 20 of judgment. The lamb here is a target, the throne. Remember, tar is throne. The lamb is a target. It's a way to the throne, right? The vulnerable one. Oh, I'll marry them and I'll get all the money from their family, right? The 309, 1 is throne. The 369, but 6 is at the 0 point here. And then Tiger Woods came up and his success in video games. An oft overlooked extension, so there's that, again, extension is the annex, of Tiger Mania fading further into obscurity. With later missteps by EA Electronic Arts that led, and that's from EASports.com, was the company he was affiliated with, which led the series to fall out of favor and for Tiger to part ways with them in 2013. Well, Tiger's back in the game with a new PGA Tour 2K23, the Titan 2K, so the company 2K is now coming up. They're contracted with Tiger, and Cyber Tiger was coming up. So there may be something good about that company. You can research that, see it like it seems like something good for you. But products, LA CRO is also coming up, which for me, CRO is a contract research organization, but doesn't have to be. But here it was coming up as La Crosse Wise. It's a small, it's a new drink that came up. It's not La Crosse, but La Croix. But it's in La Crosse, Wisconsin. A very small company. So that was coming up as well. La Croix Sparkling Water, which is a part of the company $Fizz, a capital Fizz with a $sign in front of it. So this new sparkling water was People's Food Awards winner in 22. Another company came up as LACR.PA instead of the Fizz, because that's the parent company. And it's a whole different company altogether, but it came up, so I thought I'd put it out there to you anyway. So La Croix, with no space between them, is another company. That's the LACR.PA. And it's a German company that deals with the intelligent local grid. So I thought that was significant to bring up. So you can research them, see what it means to you. And the birds were talking like crazy when all this stuff was coming up. The crows, and it sounded like a little crow, like it was a weird bird. So the Tian bat, the tiger lion bat out of hell, or the bat lost in space, where Tiger Woods was coming up here, and the lamb and the crow standing guard as the dolphin's happy, breaking the seal of the sea serpent, the sacral chakra, with target practice, perhaps a baby crow. And innocent was interesting, the word innocent that came up here, because it was on the label of La Croix cans for that water. It's flavored water with natural flavors. So the innocent here is protected by the crow, the 3D gatekeeper, while the dolphins gets in, and there was all this news about the dolphins who had been dying from previous years and currently as well from oil spills and such, or why did the dolphin get speared and stuff like that. So a lot about dolphins getting killed. And here, the dolphin card's very happy, but it's like the dolphin's all happy and gets in, but also breaks the seal. And there's that energy of the worm card next, which is the intestines, or that high vibe little one trying to keep their energy pure, but someone broke the seal. So it's getting that energy too of infection, like at the hospital where someone broke a seal. Reflecting a swan. The fox and camel are watching for news, so then Fox News came up. Sly and loyal, and independent and blue. And so I looked up to see if there was anything on Fox News that was of relevance, and the only thing that I saw was about the Paris little girl whose throat was cut and was taped up and found in a suitcase. and they had, with a device, written the numbers 1 and 0 on her body with a device. I don't know anything more about it, but 4 apparently were arrested for that. And I'm interested to find out what's going on with the 1 and 0 digits, obviously, because they're very significant. So the cobra here is coming up as very alert to the zebra with a third eye activated, right, who goes against the grain. The lizard is nervous in crowds in the collective awakening to the snake and the kundalini rising, right? The cobra is very much the crowning of the snake and sealed up again here. Yeah, so the dolphins, Deepwater Horizon disaster site, they're investigating something else out in California, and then Virginia Beach. This was an old message from 2010, but it may be coming up again. That was in Virginia Beach. The Huntington Beach one is the one from 21 that's come up again this year. So there's a possible oil spill in Long Beach under investigation. Someone witnessed tar, there's the word tar again, tar balls on the shoreline, 4:30 on Friday the 14th. And also the oil depot in Russia was hit and was on fire. But some of the other articles that came up with the headings were taken offline already, so I don't even know what they were saying. So there was a crocodile that came up here too. It's like I was getting energies of people taking care of people in hospitals, like the different shifts of them, that the morning shift was really good. The day shift was good too, but there's one in there who may be sensitive to crowds, so they may have a hard time with energies. But the night shift was coming up as a problem, because although 3 of them were okay, there was a crocodile mixed up in there, and they have the crocodile, the reptilian eyes. They were with the elk or moose, who's usually a great guy, except when he doesn't eat right, then he becomes an ass. And he was with the crocodile. So if anyone understands this message, it's obviously going out to someone. Someone needs to know who's taking care of their person in the hospital. May not be a good person to be around that person. The mouse is nervous. The bee is hard at work at night, but the crocodile is mixed in with the elk or moose, which again usually is a great guy, but when the moose is not eating right, he becomes a jerk. But he may be triggering the croc, or the croc may be triggering him, and he doesn't know why he's being triggered. But the croc shouldn't be in there. And this can also reference digestive issues. And it's like someone who's really friendly. I don't think they're a bad person, but if they're too friendly, right, they can miss opening and closing a seal properly. That's what I was getting in the morning shift. Someone who's really friendly may have broken a seal, but then in the afternoon shift, the seal was then resealed. It was okay. But I'm also getting intestinal issues here, so there could be infection problems. It's like the dolphin becomes the lizard, which is someone really sensitive to energies, where the dolphin is not, right? They have this really strong, powerful aura around them. But they lose their energy because of the break in the seal, and then become the lizard during the day, who's really sensitive. And then at night, they can't do the night shift, so then the crocodile comes in their position. So there's somebody at night who shouldn't be around somebody who's sick, because they're stealing their energy on purpose. So somebody might have left the door open. And again, second shift may be someone who's too sensitive, but actually closed the open door. They found the problem, but they also can't handle the energies. The crow or zebra is solid, but really friendly dolphin person left something open or broke the seal. And then the overly sensitive person closed the seal, but they were then left vulnerable. And then you don't want their energies around them either, because now they're drained and vulnerable to the crocodile at night. And the man who's normally really great, but an ass if they don't eat right. So someone recovering from loss or regret, hanging out, detoxing, defenseless to the one sharing or settling out with no choice but to call. In a wake-up call to stay quiet or to not snap out. In the early morning or at the new moon, or prior deception about a big love offered from the Nine of Pentacles sovereign here. The peacock may be easily intimidated by the vulture. And there's a confirmation there. The peacock may be easily intimidated by the vulture, and the wolf by the buffalo. They may be stunned by her groundedness or his groundedness. And someone may be too much into their head. The Queen of Swords talks about being up at night with the Queen of Cups, imprisoned, and this could be people talking at the hospital, right? The Queen of Swords looks like she's talking to the Queen of Cups. They're both upright, but they're talking about a patient and imprisoned. The Queen of Swords and the Queen of Cups not sleeping well, or two talking about a patient who's not sleeping well, and the Queen of Cups is anxious about the Page of Pentacles offering help. It might be someone who's young, or there's maybe a problem with, at the hospital, lots of times there's students or interns around, and this may not be a good idea in your circumstance here. Someone might be nervous about them being around, looking up details, an inmate or a student here, or an intern. Not that they're bad, just that they don't know all the rules, right? So they may cause a break in infection protocol or in shadowing at work. So I wanted to bring that up because that may be for somebody very specific. All right, so now is this the read with the 4-deck read here. This is a little bit more casual. It doesn't have all the intense energy. Okay, and then we'll get into the 7-deck read. So at 111 here, the underlying energy was the golden egg, sudden wealth, the 7 of Swords reversed, and the 22, which is the Y in the road, but it's also the Fool's journey with the Queen of Pentacles. So the nest egg, and that can reference eating eggs as well, but the nest egg of aligning with sudden wealth, coming clean or getting clean, or someone, the golden child cleaning up their act or space, and a choice of path for the Queen of Pentacles, and a crack in the seal or the sacral chakra, and that can reference, getting someone pregnant as well. So maybe a crack in the seal with the worm, the intestines, reflecting swans, the oyster who clammed up with their feelers out, or perhaps the golden egg that's about to crack open. So here both the oyster and the eggs may be both cracking open, right? So the pearl's ready and the egg is ready to crack open. The Black Panther may have caused the seal to crack or triggered it on purpose. And maybe someone needed to crack open an egg. Maybe someone needed eggs. Also good flora reflected as both the oyster and the egg are about to crack open. A pearl and a chick or packages sent. And as I was writing this, there was a package dropped off at the door. It was funny. 24 is the Queen of Wands, thief, and the 38 of the Queen of Cups, the hard worker, weaving. The 23 of the King of Wands, McDreamy. The Queen of Wands thief could also work the street. This can also be a child who's with the Queen of Wands, who's the problem. The 23 is the King of Wands, McDreamy, going to see a patient or caseworker or taking orders, whether they're a lawyer, a nurse, or the waiter or waitress, taking orders. Perhaps in court for healthcare issues, with 31 in group health, chaos of life and illness, and the 12 of the wise privileged lady, suddenly with justice, and hits the jackpot of 777, and then the next card was 7 as well, or wins the lottery, or privileged lady is hanging out with justice, or at the casino, aligns with sudden wealth, with Pisces and Libra here, the King and Queen of Wands, perhaps lovers of Atlas, or Capricorn and Taurus, or Leo and Gemini, where the mature man is on a path of the wounded warrior, or with the wounded warrior, which is often that victim mentality, but now with an empty room or an empty house, where the cycle is complete, or Sagittarius and Pisces with unexpected income, or inspired by an unexpected incoming person or thing. Or perhaps someone sold a house. The King of Cups boy may be impoverished, or golden child cleaning up the act, going to jail or anxious about court, adjudicating with the Queen of Wands thief, and the King of Wands with legal knowing or lawyer. Maybe he's representing himself in court, and that could be a divorce court or something like that, or anything else. The Queen of Cups may be hard at work between the King and Queen of Wands to keep things going for them while they're in court. Adjudication for a group, for healthcare issues, hanging out with a privileged lady, for sudden wealth, or to hit the jackpot, or thinking about making it legal with a woman to reap the rewards that they would give them. King of Cups, Queen of Wands, and King of Wands, both here. All water and fire signs here, especially Pisces, Saggy, and Libra too. After the Queen of Cups reversed, family is depressed due to the Knight of Wands reversed player going out on their own or falling short on energy. So the King of Swords is going into more intellectual pursuits as opposed to physical ones, with Leo kids or a pet, or being strong with the Queen of Cups reversed, dropping all their responsibilities or dumping a mess on purpose and leaving, with the Emperor upright, triumphing over the Hermit reversed, parent or grandparent, or someone who passed away. So they're either not doing well or they passed away, or literally going crazy and coming out about a death, an end, a dark night, or Aries upright, Virgo reversed, and Scorpio upright, or out in the cold, or with patience, ill or injured, and now free to leap as the King of Wands blocked all calls, communications and or travel back and forth, not wanting to revisit the negative past or their childhood or bad relations or difficult children, in a breakup or without any affection here at 209, the High Priestess and the Hermit. The Knight of Swords is rushing in from a distance with the truth to come clean or about any sneakiness that's been going on. At 210 of the High Priestess or Divine Feminine, and that high vibe of the 10, is the 35 of the Wounded Warrior pulling anchor. Perhaps Fox, Sagittarius, leaving the hen house. Perhaps dancing in a life and death energy as the 9 of Pentacles sovereign, or becoming single here. The 28 of the Power Man, which can be a choice of path or a twin flame, in love. The King of Swords in a mature spiritual union coming full circle, an energetic exchange to nest the dream with the Queen of Cups or Pisces Aquarius, and high vibe Page of Pentacles Libra, making cuts or being more discerning. Perhaps clearing out weeds or starting anew to manifest and cutting to the chase, or perhaps student paperwork if someone's going back to school. The Page of Cups with multiple faces of vulnerability and wise counsel, or a few wise feminines to refer to on the Fool's Journey, on the sine wave, with the Queen of Pentacles, Golden Child, or Libra coming clean, to or with the Queen of Pentacles. And the numbers up here were 11, 7, 7, 7, 22. So very significant section right here. And the 7 of Swords reversed was the 4th 7, or finding a golden pearl in their heart. Perhaps Aries was there too. So the first this is all the underlying energy. The first section here was the black egg of speaking the truth with a dream gift to the world, the Divine Feminine or Pisces with an open heart, to the 19 of the Sun, establishment, protection, peaceful place, or need for peace at the institution. The truth is the gift to the world regarding healthcare institution, education of children, things that should be free for all. And these could be topics that may be coming up in the breaking down of all the different sections of our lives. With Pisces, Aquarius, and Leo here, the second section is the rabbit who's scared, and the cosmic egg of the crowning collective on the ground with the troops, where the bunny may be the main male, or maybe they're just with the main male, perhaps Gemini, Virgo, or Magician, and the Page of Wands reversed, intimidated by the shadow bear, the mother, the grandmother, or an icy boss or pushy politician. The collective being the vehicle for a message of a sudden event or sudden realization or sexual exchange at night, of romance or the journey within, and the Divine Masculine easily intimidated or very empathic around crowds or with kids in his car and not liking it. Perhaps 2 kids and a pushy mother are all in the car, with the bunny with their crown opening or just graduated, and the main male with a message or sealed delivery that was opened but not by them, and the Page of Wands reversed suddenly explodes at the pushy polar bear as they push their buttons, with fire reversed and Scorpio upright, Cancer, and Capricorn too. The third section is the camel and the fox. The camel is independent but blue, and the fox is sly but loyal. Or independent Blue Cross may be coming up, since now you can re-register for things, and red fox. And Fox News obviously came up too. The camel blue mother, or loving mature woman reaping rewards, a vehicle perhaps with toxins, or the Queen of Wands' bite, toxic needles or apples left out with a bite taken out of them. And again, that's like opening a letter that doesn't belong to you, or leaving an apple on the counter with a bite in it. The same kind of energy is coming up there. The fox with a busy profession, or just occupied by the energetic exchange or arrows of love. Up early for Atlas, or deception, a burden. The Queen of Wands and King of Wands, with Cancer reversed and fire or Gemini or twins. Or there could literally be the disease Cancer or infection being dealt with here, maybe a burden for the King of Wands, or a car that's about to go, or with toxic fumes, leaking in at night, or new moon drive to or with Atlas could be toxic, or a mother gets sick or got bit. And again, the toxic fumes, I just talked about my son living next to a diesel station too, so it can reference the masculine for sure. At 239 is the High Priestess and the Knight of Cups. The fourth section here of the cheetah watching the fox and the camel about to pounce, if the occasion should arise. The phoenix rising or just ready to roll at a moment's notice, with cheetah getting a message of concern that may be frustrating to them. The 28 of the choice of path, or the loving man, may be waiting for delivery or waiting for a birth or something of urgency, or that hurry up and stop or wait energy. With the phoenix and 16, the tower of the man with thoughts of her or a patient or needing to be patient, distracting self with working late, with a child in transition, the page of swords, or waiting for a message to be received. So something very important, obviously, whether it's a baby being delivered, whether it's a report or a test that comes back, or whether you're waiting in the hospital for something to be over. It's definitely that energy, or being on call and maybe getting called and not sure if you can go in, and then you have to stop and wait and then go. So definitely Sagittarius, Scorpio, all in that section, with big transformation about to happen at 243, which is the High Priestess and the Three of Cups. The 5 is the freedom, change and expansion, the collective snake, the fire ants collecting. So there's this polarity right there, right? The collective snake opening next to the fire ants collecting towards the middle of the wound. The collective awakening to the wounds to be healed. The journey of despair, or of the pair, destined high vibe journey of hermiting changes. The Queen of Pentacles versus the Queen of Swords, and the King of Cups hermiting with their gifts of the Queen of Swords, or the Queen of Swords is Virgo, hermit finding peace with the Queen of Cups, 38, who's crossing bridges with synchronicities and choices or heaven in their eyes, and the family tree on the other side, with change, freedom, and expansion from 5 to 6, to love, family, and community, or the lover, King of Wands, or twin, in a breakthrough here, with Libra, Virgo, Water, Taurus, and Gemini, or the King of Cups, and 2 to 3 queens here, with a family breakthrough, or Virgo, Cancer, and Taurus, Pisces, with Libra, Virgo, King of Cups, and the Queen of Cups, Taurus, and family, or built a bridge of sorts at 252, which is the Divine Feminine or High Priestess and the Queen of Swords. So the clarifiers that with those mini cards just went as so. The underlying energy of being stressed out or couldn't sleep. Perhaps the Knight of Cups is reversed, just not feeling like being a loving person today, right? With the 6 of Cups upright, the High Priestess reversed, the King of Pentacles upright. The twins with a secret passion of the King of Pentacles, and the 10 of Pentacles reversed, family, business, or community of dysfunction or loss, maybe presenting the truth of their dreams or healing to a dream girl or to a star, or perhaps an Aquarius there, where the Emperor here is uncomfortable with the King of Wands reversed, with Leo in their chart perhaps, or kids or pets out of control, starting over, cleaning up the act to move on, with the Knight of Pentacles, who, by the way, is in the middle of the read right here, Knight of Pentacles. Maybe recovering from exile to manifest big and then get going with the Knight of Wands. I just got something stuck in my throat. The Magician's upright with the Knight of Wands there, so someone's definitely, getting some positive energy there to go forward. The Empress comes up as whole, or the Divine Feminine or Taurus Pisces, maybe disappointed or in separation with the Hermit reversed, Queen of Cups reversed, which could be just the Queen of Cups may have Virgo in their chart, may be released by facing their fears. And now the Sovereign upright is doing triggering work, or purging issues at work, or freely dumping on or in the dumps at work, or just feeling pushed to their emotional limit. Looking back at the dark night in a death, an ending, or just bliss, of Atlas and all the hard work and implementing a plan to let go and fix something or something with someone, perhaps will cost less than you think. With the Nine of Cups reversed and the Nine of Wands upright, which is like the twins, you know, at their worst, and then coming together to tell their sad stories, right? Two not happy with news or clarity destined to happen, or two telling their stories to each other in order to get clarity, destined to school the goose. Yes, and then that's when I did my before the read, where I saw the balloon flying by in the shape of a light bulb when I commanded that it was so. That was at 4:11, by the way. All right, so I know that was a lot, but now we have the 7-deck read in front of you, which isn't a real long one, so this won't be as long as usual. And this was cut and dealt at 7:23, the SIRIAN Starseed deck. And here's the read on the table, so you can see it from above. Okay. And I finished clarifying at 7:57, which is the Chariot, and the 57, which is the Three of Swords, the separation. And the major arcana here were the Starseed, which is the Fool, Abundance, which is the Empress, and Luna, the Moon. Before the read was Strength and Karma, which is the Judgment card, and after the read was the Star. There were 2 Pentacles, 3 Wands, 1 Sword, and 1 Cup, which is 23 and 12, the King of Wands and the Hanging Man. The court cards in the read was just that Knight of Pentacles, and that has nothing to do with the main deck that you see in front of you, right? So there's the Knight of Pentacles in one deck, that's a clarifier deck, but the only court card in the SIRIAN Starseed deck here is the Knight of Pentacles. So he's very significant, apparently, or she. So the Knight of Pentacles is the only court card. Before the read, the Queen of Wands and the Page of Pentacles came up with the Sovereign, the Nine of Pentacles. And after the read, just the Page of Wands was there. We had triple twos, which is always a good sign for me. The 2 of the Divine Feminine High Priestess of polarity, but also of mediation. The 22 of the Fool's Journey with an open heart and a leap of faith. And the 222 of 6, which is love, family, community, and the lovers. We also had 66 and 99. The 66 of the Queen of Pentacles, the 99 of compassion, the 4 of the Emperor, and stability. It's also manifestation of survival as opposed to the 8 of dreams, and 8 comes up here as well. We have the triple twos, double sixes, and then 89 of the Phi energy, expanding, contracting, or staying in the middle, reflecting. And then again, 9, 10, begin again and again and again. Every time you expand, you come back to the center again. So on the code line here, there was no numerology cards in that placement right there. So there was no numerology card, but the number on the code line came up to 8 from 2 and 6. Which is the Divine Feminine and the lover, or the love, family, community, and the 8 of the dance between the masculine and feminine. So NS was the first thing that came up on the code line, which is also normal saline, which didn't really come up in my messages, but I wanted to put it out there since so much came up with hospitals and such. So NS is Christ and Sophia for me, and then it repeats itself. It goes NS, C, and then SN. So again, it's showing you the reflection. Christ Sophia sees Sophia Christ. And then the 9 of the grandmother, and also the 9 of the alchemist, right? The man, the duty, when things aren't even, neither nor. Someone that's capable, who's able-bodied, so there's the body coming up again, and well off, right? They're able to do this. The Christ Sophia sees the Sophia Christ. The 9 of the all, who are capable, able-bodied, and well off, the twin flame lovers, balanced. So it was all about the twin flame lovers here. The tongue came up, or nanosecond, sudden events, or to see, to kiss or smell. The liver or husband came up again here, and the food or contents of a man, regarding the capable, able-bodied, and well-off twin flame lovers who are balanced. Normal saline, seeing social security number perhaps. In a show of power of Christ. The Christ of Sophia whale is coming up. The Sophia Christ grandmother, or hermit or man coming up there. And the navel lyra also came up here. Another stringed instrument came up. The Christos Sophia, the sudden event or seeing Sophia Christ show of power in a stringed instrument. The inclination of the twin flame lovers sharing, being inclined to share, or that slippery slope, so to speak. The Christ Sophia season, the duty of the capable twin flame lovers balancing and sharing equally. So we start here with the starseed reversed right here. I'm going to move this just over just a pinch so you can see it over there. All right, so the top card right there is the starseed reversed, and below that is the strength card, 9 of Pentacles, both reversed. The Queen of Wands upright, Karma reversed, and then the Page of Pentacles upright below the starseed reversed. So the Hermit coming out, saving, withholding, and surrendering to all that is, with third party in need of strength, or powerless Queen of Wands ready to swallow their pride, or needing to swallow their pride, with the Page of Pentacles when they fall on their face. And again, that could be perhaps a child and a mother where the mother's being too hard on the child. Or maybe needs to apologize to the child, but they don't believe in apologizing to the child, right? Because the parent's always right. It just depends on your belief system. Receiving big love under the radar, in need of attention, fully exposed, getting organized to release anxieties over failure. The King of Pentacles is not sleeping or awakening and withholding from the King of Cups reversed, who may be healing from peaceful travels and keeping to themselves when they're lacking faith, right? So they don't put that on other people. With Virgo, Aries, Leo, and Aquarius all reversed here. When I say it's reversed, it could be in a negative aspect, but it also can just mean it's in their chart, but it's not their sun sign, or perhaps not their rising sign. Reaping rewards and coming out about not working, or about being practical and saving. The Knight of Pentacles reversed with Virgo in their chart may be afraid to move on. With the Seven of Pentacles or Divine Feminine's heart, and the Hermit reversed with the Knight of Pentacles reversed. The Divine Masculine of the Four of Pentacles, which is in the Syrian Starseed deck, is the masculine's heart in the Batcave, with dark energy streaming in and unable to function, so he may need to be cleared. Coming out and retiring perhaps very soon. Beneath that was wedding, that the situation involves marriage. And then we had the Ace of Cups upright, the Strength reversed, the Wounded Warrior, Page of Pentacles, and the Six of Cups upright there as well. So a big love offer that's in need of strength. The Wounded Warrior telling their story of the Page of Pentacles need to be perfect, and sad memories of burning themselves, or a child or childhood best friend or soulmate, or getting the Page of Pentacles drunk to sit on their lap on the logs down on the farm, the man with a hat with a flame in right hand and leading the goat. To big dark bird, the lamb to the slaughter. Teach and learn comes up here with the 57, 3 of Swords, and beneath that love partnership, the 26 of the Page of Wands. So the heartbreak of the Page of Wands with the Empress reversed in lack, needing to swallow their pride to end the pain that they caused. And again, that was coming up with the Queen of Wands as well, so it could be the same person. Taurus and Aquarius both reversed in a painful end. And the Queen of Wands reversed with the King of Cups reversed, losing patience with the truth out and no peace and no options, but to implement a plan to hang up the boat and the frog to stop spying on where they're going. Sag was reversed there with the Knight of Pentacles upright at 9:18, which is the Hermit and the Moon, in energetic exchange, bleeding out in a downturn, awake and weak, the Queen of Swords, perhaps Aquarius reversed, maybe Aquarius in her chart, confessing that they're excited by the Empress's downfall, where the Empress is reversed. So someone may be happy that the Empress isn't doing well. The Queen of Wands reversed and the King of Cups reversed, fallen from grace, with the truth out and no peace, or no options, but for the Divine Feminine to come out, to Starseed, who's knocked for a loop, who fell on their face, or the Divine Masculine's heart, holding on to memories that make them sad, or teaching and learning the day the music died. When the student is ready, the teacher comes. At at 10:12. And there could be a very lewd energy that just came out of what I just said. This could be someone who was abused when they were young. You know, the way they were raised by even a parent or an uncle who may have abused them, right? When the student is ready, the teacher comes, right? So that's something very negative right there. That's not for everyone, obviously, but there's a message there for somebody. The recent past here is abundant reversed, the Empress reversed in lack. I'm so sorry if that's something that you've experienced. Investing in Taurus and Aries reversed, seeing synchronicities of the Two of Cups reversed at a distance, sharing dissatisfaction or settling out, dissatisfied with the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community, of abundance, weakened without option or without their twin. Lovers upright here, maybe coming out to be the Queen of Pentacles reversed, exposing all about a third party, or addictions of the Empress reversed, and the foundation of the Nine of Swords reversed, no longer hiding, and the Page of Wands excited to move or travel with the Page of Swords reversed, third party, or with no response, or a negative reply from perhaps an overindulgent group of friends, maybe not getting a reply or a negative response from them. The central energy is the Knight of Pentacles reversed, refusing to move. The one upright in front of you is upright in the underlying energies over here from this deck. So that's underlying energy, it's not present. But that's, everything is based from that card. But in the read, they're now reversed in the center, refusing to move or work. The Dark Knight at night, under the stars, with the King of Wands reversed, awake, who perhaps can't sleep, with big love being offered, a dark night romance, a dream come true, with the Knight of Pentacles reversed and the King of Wands reversed, not sleeping together or due to big love offer. Challenged by the Two of Wands reversed, needing their twin flame, or the King of Wands reversed, giving it his all, as the Queen of Cups is uncomfortable, and the Queen of Pentacles reversed is with the Page of Cups and Knight of Wands, kids, both reversed, or the Queen of Pentacles reversed is rejected by the player, or vulnerable to the Knight of Wands, falling short. The Knight of Pentacles reversed and the Knight of Wands reversed may be paralyzed by their passions in different ways, or healing Sagittarius fallen angel post-war virus and or PTSD. No date, no meal, or no twin, with the Knight of Cups reversed, rejected or jealous, or with no big love unless third party through work, and fallen angel, or losing patience under the radar, feeling a failure, working to align with the Ten of Cups upright, being scroogey, or sharing or shaming them for a rejection. The Page of Cups reversed in disconnect or at a distance, and now crowning is the Two of Cups reversed and the Page of Pentacles reversed. Perhaps a sister or suffering in silence. And remember, Isis was both the wife and the sister, so there could be someone out there who is a sister and a wife. And that could be a sister wife as well, if they have more than one wife. Now is the Two of Cups reversed and the Page of Pentacles reversed. Perhaps a sister, or stressed out or suffering in silence, confessing to third party through work, and making a choice to implement a plan for union home while things are slow. A new passion to purge and fall for the Queen of Cups. Perhaps twins insecure with the truth, awakening them to justice, divorce, or justice and the High Priestess, the truth of balance and psychic abilities, of being in their knowing and keeping to themselves, that the King of Pentacles is jealous or rejected the wounded warrior, in a bold move to fantasize of lovers out in the cold. The King of Pentacles bumping into or fantasizing about the thief or the one that got away, running from one with hardball or magnetism, or running away from romance and meaning business this time. With Libra, Gemini, Capricorn reversed, Libra, Pisces upright, and Aries reversed, with Cancer upright, lovers out in the cold, being scroogey, or floating a coin and feeling shame. For the Page of Cups reversed, disconnected, rejecting their partner. And soon is the Six of Cups upright, the inner lovers or innocent children, The Queen of Cups and the Knight of Swords, uncomfortable with emotions between them. And grounding, integrating, and mastering the Page of Pentacles, who's learning to purge and allowing themselves to be insecure with no choice in their own negative self-talk. So again, it's not punishing themselves for punishing themselves, like learning how to do the work. At 1044, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the 44 again, of grounding, integrating, and mastering, the receiving of love, or that social worker Atlas energy. At 1056 is the Wheel and the Two of Swords. The Six of Cups, inner children or outer children, upright, offering love to the Page of Pentacles, who may be inviting them to examine how to purge their insecurities, with the Magician reversed needing to manifest a twin message. The twin flames seeing themselves as the Nine of Wands, wounded warrior, tempted by gifts, or the devil is present, out in the cold juggling for God to find peace, or for the man, the establishment to find peace, or the daily grind, just to, and battling that just to get a vacation, or in hopes of retiring early perhaps. Give your relationship a chance. You deserve love and reconciliation, as well as soulmate. Yes, this is your soulmate came up. With Saggy, Capricorn, and Taurus are definitely upright there. Around the twins, or how they're seen, is the Four of Pentacles, divine masculine's heart in the Batcave. In energetic exchange with the King of Swords reversed and the Nine of Pentacles reversed, who could be a dependent or just powerless or codependent, grieving a loss, regret, or coming full circle, authentic to the world. And the block here is the Eight of Wands, back and forth of the Ten of Cups upright with the King of Cups reversed, defenseless to their attacks, and the Page of Cups reversed, giving up on expressing their emotional feelings, with the Knight of Swords upright cracking the whip, but stunned by what he sees, in disconnect or at a distance with the Page of Cups reversed, and Cancer, perhaps night or romance, and uncomfortable emotions regarding fighting for the Queen of Swords. The Page of Cups, there may be two Page of Cups is reversed here. That could be twin kids, right? Or twin rejections, twin vulnerability, twin spoiled kids. But there could be two of them here for sure. With the Knight of Swords upright and the Queen of Swords upright, which can be the two Pages of Cups. One could be the Knight of Swords and one could be the Queen of Swords. But they're upright. But they may feel rejected inside as the child. So at night, with constant drama of withholding, or the Queen of Wands upright and the Emperor reversed, saving and playing hardball, and that could be people divorcing, living together, with a thief getting away with it, or watching sports and stealing bases. Romance under the radar, dumping a load, uncomfortably numb, with the Page of Wands upright star. That could be a star child or an adult who acts like a child star. Receiving a big offer or a passion project. With Leo reversed, dependent Queen of Wands upright with poor judgment, and the Page of Pentacles knocked for a loop, or the Queen of Wands with poor judgment, in inviting the fools and or foolish behavior in, like taking responsibility for having invited that behavior into their own energy, holding on, having to keep to themselves, not wanting to share, with sadness about a past, in teaching and learning a big lesson. At 1122, Justice and the Fool's Journey. Two fools bumping into each other, the Nine of Swords reversed and the Nine of Wands upright, the Divine Feminine coming out and the Divine Masculine in the cave, with the Empress reversed and the Knight of Pentacles reversed, challenged by no options or a need for their twin, and the Six of Cups energetic exchange at a distance in romance under the radar, taking a load off or comfortably numb. The Page of Wands, the masked star, with a questionable offer, and the starseeds knocked for a loop, the Empress reversed implementing a plan to invest, or coming out of hiding, the Knight of Pentacles reversed, unwilling to budge and disconnect or at a distance, challenged by the inability to implement a new path, the Wounded Warrior and a Soul Tie, the Divine Masculine in the Batcave, in energetic exchange at night or lots of back and forth, in romance, needing attention to take a load off, confess being numb, and the Page of Wands inspired by stardom, or being pushed into unsavory offers at 1131, which is justice of chaos of the group and conflicts. All right, so we're already at 224, so I'm just going to pull you an energy card. I didn't roll the dice today either. What is our takeaway from all this? Some just really basic energy. What is our takeaway today? That came right up. And there's actually 2 cards, but the number 33 was very significant, and 31, which we just ended on. So we started out with significant 33, because I said that in the beginning, and we're ending up with the 31, the door to what you value. Make sure before you open the doors, you know what is important to you. And we have 2 doors here, the door to value and the door to romance. The Christ unity consciousness or the chaos of life. We also have this card wanting to be seen, letting go of the mask, right? The freedom of change and expansion by removing the mask. Being honest with what is important to you, being honest with what makes your heart inspired, right? There's a lot of red root energy in here, and then this is gray, right? And that's like the newspaper. What is it? Red and white, or black and white and red all over, right? The newspaper. So take off the mask of the word of what is said. And again, we're talking about word, the word of God, as opposed to the word on the paper. And, you know, let go of your chains, right? Nobody can make you let go of your chains. You have to do that on your own. You have to free yourself from being the victim. And again, to walk away and within to find balance, all right? And these also could be 2 energies that you're dealing with, whether they're children or young co-workers or even older, right? One is very good at going within and balancing themselves, and the other one is learning to take off their mask, realizing they have a lot of attachments to deal with, or that's one and the same person. The bottom of the deck is blossoming abundance, and the 3 of the Empress, the earth. And again, with Thanksgiving and the holidays coming up, and the need to balance and stay balanced when you go out with all these parties. The 22 of the Fool's Journey, right? Learning to be always with an open heart and a leap of faith. And if you get triggered, you know that's time to walk away. But otherwise, always being in that place of love. And these are going to be tests for you going out to all these different family and friend gatherings. You know, will you get triggered? Will you be loved the whole time? So just remember to be present in every moment. Oh, I wanted to roll the die for you too. And that goes for me too. All right, for the twins. The 16th day of October, 2022. We have the 11 of alignment and Libra. Where are we? Yeah, we're still in Libra, right? Yep. And then we have, this is Pluto, profound transformation, which did come up in the read as well. And then we have Leo. And Leo definitely came up with the Lion King and all that. So profound transformation, these are both fixed too, right? So Pluto is Scorpio and Aries. Aries isn't fixed, but Scorpio and Leo are. And then we have Libra over here, which is cardinal, and Aries. Right, so the polarized, we don't have the mutable in between. The go-between is missing from here, and yet we talked about the universal Mercury, which is the mutable energy in between, that source energy from one side to the other. Okay, guys, I hope you took all that in. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. Yeah, just remember the usual. Remember your water, your rest, your joy, your nature, to follow your own knowing, and to be present every moment as you go out and get tested. You know, it's easy to be balanced at home, right, when you're by yourself, but when you go out and you're dealing with groups, families, friends, for the holidays especially, or just people you've never met before, remembering to be present to keep yourself right there in case you get triggered, to bring yourself right back to your heart. Okay? Rise and be loved. Love you guys. Have an amazing one. Love and rise. I'll see you soon. It's all in the eyes is coming up again now. Bye, you guys.